in 24 minutes, I will officially be performing for 12 hours today, and I need to go to bed soon, or I'm going to murder everyone in the universe with my penis. That's
Welcome to the show.
Oh
no, the Canadians are coming.
No.
Chris, John, and Irish Ashley combine to
I'm
make
talking
the
over the
ultimate
content. Mid-theme content.
Welcome to
mid-theme content with John. Oh, there's Will, there's Ashley,
John's the
JJ,
CEO and Boomer.
There's me.
Ashley's the real leader.
There's Ashley.
Brings the vibes and juices as our enjoyment increases.
That's my favorite part.
Welcome to the Untitled Twitch stream.
I'd like to point out something, which is one of the juice bottles that goes in Chris's cart in the opening theme is a apple cider vinegar bottle, and it's I just noticed it now, and I want David Hoare's head for that.
I want the listeners to know that we are trying to find a new name. I very sleepily at 8 a.m. threw out 30 names just off the top of my head. That wasn't a list that I compiled. I was just very tired and just whatever popped into my head.
As someone who's seen that list, in no way did I go, this seemed like it was prepared ahead of time.
No, I don't think anybody who would ever lay eyes on that list would have thought that.
It was there was some gems in there. Ashley's Brittle Bones. I stand by that one. That's a good.
It's not a name of a podcast, though.
That's a good. I'd listen to that. Are you listening to Ashley's Brittle Bones? No, that sounds amazing.
What about this? Why don't we call it Podcast with Chris, John, Ashley?
Podcast? Like we
podcast? No, just call it podcast. Just call it podcast. All right. Well, you come up with a better name then. Ashley. It's either Ashley's Brittle Bones or podcast.
Yeah.
Are they really the only options?
Or you got to come up with one right now. You got to come up with one right now.
Ashley, are you ready for this? No, they are not the only options.
Also, if you're listening and you think of something, tweet us some names. Because we are up against it. So far, Ashley's Brittle Bones is the front runner.
It's really not, though.
We are not up against it at all. This can take all the time in the world.
I think if we have a front runner, it's Smooth or Crunchy. I still think that's a really fun name.
Absolutely.
I don't like it.
Because here's the thing: is none of the shows convey that it's a show of friendship chatting. That it's just kind of a bullshit fest. You know what I'm saying? Like all of them are good, but all of them are all so much more inside jokes already. Like it's literally like it's like naming the podcast the Unattainable Community.
I mean, there's a successful podcast called Come Town, so I feel like you can kind of name them whatever you want.
Yeah, but if you listen to Come Town, which I have in the past, that is exactly the correct name for that show.
Are you saying then that Smooth or Crunchy is too much of an in-joke?
It is literally an in-joke.
It is literally an in-joke.
I do understand that it's an in-joke, but it sounds good, and it's one of those. I think it's one of those things that you can say that you don't actually need to know where it came from. It just sounds like a thing.
I understand, but if you read Smooth or Crunch, I do want the title of whatever this becomes as a podcast to somewhat denote what it is. So it's not just if someone read Smooth or Crunchy, they'll be like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like Tiger Belly, like Bobby Lee's podcast being called Tiger Belly in the way that that's just gibberish, but also absolutely nailed it. Like you're like, yeah, that's right.
Okay. Well, we're just waiting for the thing that's going to absolutely nail it then.
Yeah.
And we'll get it.
Him and Santino have is it Best Friends? Is it just called Best Friends?
Bad Friends. It's an unlistenable piece of shit. That podcast is unlistenable.
That sounds right.
I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this right now. I think Andrew Santino is a very nice man. He is, in the one interaction I had with him, he was a lovely human being. I don't get it. It bugs the shit out of me. I can't figure it out.
As in you don't get why people like him?
I don't get why he is on my goddamn television. I don't know why he has a special... Like, it's just one of those things where it's like, were the, because it's also that thing of like people are like, the diversity is killing comedy, and I'm like, literally the whitest man on earth is on Netflix, you
Who
maniac.
is
What are you
saying
talking?
diversity is the best thing that's happening to comedy? It
I
makes every show better. It's so
welcome
much
to
more fun.
I don't
And it's
care.
I mean, this
easier
wasn't a
for
show
us.
until I got here, so.
Agree to
makes-
disagree.
Easier for us. Like, we have a better time because it's like a bunch of people with different points of view than us. So like,
Hmm.
when I'll never forget going to the Comedy Store with Dave Millett when he was heartbroken, to try to cheer him up because Phil Nickel was closing, and we watched 4 white guys tell the same jokes.
Of
It
course.
was
Oh my
crazy.
God.
Three out of the 4. It was like everybody bombed until Phil came up, and Phil tore the roof off, obviously. And but like 3 separate comics told jokes about Scousers stealing, and I was like, guys.
Can I also say this? You and Dave Millett's friendship is one of the most fascinatingly weird. You guys went on the saddest adventures through London.
We had a wonderful time.
I don't think you did. Do you remember the other comedians? Phil Nickel, of course, at the end.
Alistair Berry.
Oh yeah, baby.
This is why I like the name Sunk Ships, because loose lips sink ships, and we keep naming people. Ashley, can't hear you.
Can't hear you.
I showed your
were
list
you
to
muted?
somebody, and that was the one that they liked. They said Sunk Ship sounds like a podcast I would listen to.
Yeah, Sunk Ships is. I actually really like that one. But it was Alistair Berry, Luke Tolson. No, not Luke Tolson. Who's the tall northern one who I think like quit? He used to run the bar show with David Hardcastle. Luke something. Luke Ben. I don't know. I don't think he does stand up anymore. And then I can't even remember the other person. But it was wild. It was the same shit. And it's like whenever people are like, man, diversity is bad, I'm like, it's so much better. It's even
Wait a
aside
minute.
from all like the social things, just from a selfish comedian point of view, it's fucking better.
Is David Hardcastle the guy who runs the Museum of Comedy and Happy Mondays?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that guy. Not a fan of me.
No?
The Museum of Comedy didn't tell me that they charged rent for previews.
Oh.
They told me afterwards, and I went, "That's no." And he
Yeah,
went, "You
that's not
have
cool.
to pay it. You have to pay it." And I went, "How are you going to make me pay it?" And he went, "You won't be able to perform here." And I went, "Okay, I won't." And then he would just email me every once in a while, and I never paid it. And then, by the way, still did email him to see if I could do Happy Mondays, because I'm a brazen piece of shit sometimes
You're
with that.
nuts.
Yeah. He, by the way, did come back with dates. That is the craziest part about English people. You just fucking eyeball them. But yeah, no, I always remember that. Yeah.
I remember saying that to Dylan Gott. I was like, I'm playing this fun game with British people where I just tell them that I'm going to do something and just see if they stop me. And he's like, well, that's bullying, Chris. You're bullying a country. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's
They deserve
true,
it. They deserve it. They're not
I
gonna
don't.
stop
I
you.
don't know that I understand what what it is you're achieving. What are you doing?
Like,
Wait, me?
give an example. Yeah, give an example of what you would do.
Oh, so I would just like, they'd be like, hey, so, we could go here, we could go there. And then I would just say, here, we're doing this, something totally different, just randomly, just so they would be like, no, why would we do that? And they'd be like, oh, well, I guess we're doing that then. And just follow like little baby ducklings.
Hang on.
Oh, it's fine, country.
I didn't know that this was a British trope.
Oh, yeah, they're the most
Yeah.
bullyable people because they hate confrontation unless they're hammered. And so you can just, holy shit, it is really snowing now. So you can just tell them
I'm gonna
something's
try
happening
that.
and they will keep doing it.
It really
It's
works.
fucking nuts, man.
Like, Ashley, it somewhat works. You also have to remember this was the period of time in which Chris would a lot of the times not tap in and out of the tube. He would just get on at the place that he lived that didn't have gates and just kind of riff it. Like,
Yeah, I had
there
a
wasn't
map in my head of all the places that you can get off without having to tap in.
Wow.
And so I would just navigate the city that way.
You would
and
walk an
same-
extra 10 to 15 minutes.
happily.
No,
happily.
you would walk an
And
extra
I
30
would,
to 45 minutes. Like,
also
this was
happily.
not.
I had the same thing. I used to do Google image searches of train stations to see if they had tap in and tap out gates. And if they didn't, then I just wouldn't buy a ticket. I saved so much money. I saved hundreds of pounds.
That's
Oh.
wild.
That was a good one. The best one is still Tim Renko, who just walks up to the barriers and stares down the train operator until he opens the gates.
Mm-hmm.
I have literally been there, and I have said to them, "You don't need to do this." He has money, and they still didn't do it. The fucking pussies. They couldn't find. Yeah. Oh,
That's England, man. You can absolutely just bully England as a country, and I think they know it, and that's why they take such hard stances on weird things. Because they're like, "No, not this," and you're like, "Stop it!" And they go, "Okay."
Yeah, guys. The UK government is literally just legislating we're gonna these immigrants, we're gonna fucking drown them, and like it's just like, and
yeah,
the
it was on the
entire
podium.
Yeah, and Gary Lineker, to some people is literally public enemy number one. I also, by the way, through this, I now know who Gary Lineker is. I just knew the name. I didn't know who he was. Ashley, do you know who Gary Lineker is?
Vaguely, yes.
Yeah, I feel that same way. He's a lot more handsome than the name Gary Lineker.
Really?
Would
Right,
he's not handsome, but he's a lot
Yeah.
more. Okay, but wait,
He sounds like a Graham Linehan. It's too close to Graham Linehan.
That's exact. Chris, I did the
Yeah.
exact same thing. Also, you know what else I did? That.
But yeah, Ashley, you can bully English people into doing anything.
He kind of looks like a mousy Paul Hollywood.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Paul Hollywood. Who's
The
Paul
baking
Hollywood?
guy,
Great
the British Bake Off.
He was like Nigella Lawson to women.
Yes, Paul Hollywood. He loves bread. I gotta tell you, Great British Bake Off really saved COVID in a lot of ways. Really enjoyed the shit on that. That was
I did not put you as a Great British Bake Off fan. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh man, my TV watching habits are all over the fucking shop. I'm a real bastard to that Netflix algorithm. Woo!
There's one of my favorite 30 Rock moments was when Liz pitched something to Jack, and he's like, "This is terrible," and she's like, "Well, I was right about the TV needs more shows about British people making cakes."
I could never watch British Bake Off because my mother made cakes for a living. And so she would just ruin it. Because she would know what they're doing wrong before it gets to the dramatic part.
Yeah.
You know how they kind of structure it?
Yeah.
You know, they structure it so that it all looks like it's going well, and then, oh no, it's not rising. Why not? And blah blah blah. My mother would pinpoint that at the beginning of the baking session, and now I can do that.
It's like watching a horror movie with someone who really knows horror movies, or like a thriller, and they go, "They did it."
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, watching a horror movie with a serial killer. Yeah. Actually, you'd slip in that blood. Oh, well.
So I have just worked my first full week of shifts in
a bar
or a while. Yeah, so the CIBC bar, the bank bar that I work at, where it's just for VPs and up. Day shifts. 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. No tips, but a good hourly rate. And it is dead. They had 65 covers in yesterday, and they were like, "This is our busiest shift yet." I'm like, "You've been open for 4 months."
Here's
days.
Is it underwritten by CIBC, or is this business going to fail?
No, they own it. They built a floor. They built a new tower in Toronto called the CIBC Tower near Union Station. We're on the 49th floor, and they own all of it. And it's just because I think the banking industry got in trouble for spending too much money hosting clients. There was like some sort of inquiry or whatever. And so they're like, fine, fuck it. We'll just build a bar. And so they did.
and I work at that bar, and it's a terrible bar. They did an awful job designing it. It's like a hotel lobby.
Of course.
And it's the easiest job I've ever had. And it's 10 to 4 p.m., 4 days a week. And then I'm picking up shifts. I'm going back. I'm doing that Amazon thing today. Remember how I used to sell Amazon returns?
No.
Oh,
You
yeah.
did not mention this at all.
C&E. Yeah, last summer I was doing it. I was picking up, it's like a cash gig. And a couple ex-bartenders got this job where they just buy like pallets of like Amazon overstocks
Oh,
or
you
like
just
unused
you
return.
go in and buy the pallet and then you
Yeah.
sell it all.
Yeah, and you don't know what's in it, but then they just set up a booth at like different street festivals or like craft festivals and stuff, and so I just stand there and I go, "Hey guys,
wild.
you want to buy a shower head at a fair?" And people go, "Yeah." Like, you guys are nuts. So yeah, I'm pulling like 6 days this week, and I have 2 shows tonight as well. And
Ooh, where are your shows? Nothing fancy.
Burlington Yuck Yucks.
Oh, back on the old double Y train.
Yeah, so I'm tired. I don't know how people work. Why would you ever do this?
It's exhausting. I've been working in a warehouse all week and it's fucking freezing. It's so cold, and then you're handling really cold bottles of whiskey as well. Like you just the having to hold.
Someone is drilling directly above me.
Okay.
Yeah, we can hear
that. I'm just gonna mute myself for a second.
Yeah.
You do that. Yeah.
Ashley, look at me. What's the more insane thing? That he muted the microphone or didn't move from where the drilling was?
I think they're both equally insane.
But also, there's no way. There's a drill dangerously close to this bald fuck's head. He's just standing there looking like now he moves. Jesus, loving God.
He's got to make his tea.
I'm making coffee. Yeah. I'm gonna shift into another room though. Just
anyway, I'm holding a lot of cold bottles.
Is this? I thought you didn't. I thought you didn't end up working for the whiskey guy. I'm confused.
I didn't get the Whiskey Society job, but I still get a bit of work out in the distillery that I was working for at Christmas.
There we fucking go.
Yeah, just because they have a load of orders that they need processing, I'm just getting like basically I can just tell them when I want to do.
They moved to this room.
Also, what are they drilling? Isn't it? Oh, it's Friday. I was like, isn't it Saturday there? Friday.
I have no idea what the fuck is going on. That's so silly.
Oh, I have something I can talk about. So my upstairs neighbor has been having the most wildly loud and aggressive sex.
Okay. Okay. I would still move out of that room for safety's sake. I do not think that this is regulation drilling. I'm going to say this right now, Chris. You are living beneath unregulated minors. MINERS, not the other kind. Minors. Ashley, is it boy or girl? You're still muted, you fuck.
So there's a man who lives upstairs.
Oh, that's cute. Oh, yeah.
And I believe he's in like his mid to late 40s.
And getting after it?
And well, he lives by himself. And
no, we don't.
Basically, there's been about 5 or 6 nights where it's just been... Because at a point, I was just like, I don't know if it is sex. Is it some teenager wrestling or something? The actual volume of him just kind of moaning and shouting and stuff is insane. It goes on for like 12 hours every night that it's on.
Hang on. Have you heard someone else, or is he having a jack?
Occasionally, I've heard other people, like a woman making some sounds as well. But she's not making the sounds like he is. It's unorthodox. It's absolutely wild. But not only that, there's so much banging and
Yeah, there is.
like thumping, and it's so
Yeah.
loud, and the amount of they're literally, I'll just wake up at 8 a.m. and it's still going on, and it's right above my bedroom. It's so loud. My flatmate, she's friends with the girls who live across the hall, and they said that the people who were in here before the people who were in before us, so two kind of tenants before us, had called the police on him, and like because they thought it sounded like somebody was getting beaten up, like there was violent things being said to her and stuff. And apparently they also the girls across the hall also think it could be a sex worker that he's hiring, because there's never been a partner there, and the hours that it goes on for as well. So we have a letter drafted, which is going to go under his door at some point. Because it's like it wakes you up. It's really, really obnoxiously loud.
If you're gonna do 12 hours, you got to get a hotel room. You can't be.
Yeah.
Or just keep it down. You don't need.
Yeah, just
if you're
there's
going,
no need for the banging and the constant moaning.
But
Like
if
it's
that's
just
also-
unnecessary.
That's the sex you have, and you're paying for it. Take it somewhere else. You know, have the sex
Yeah.
you want to have.
You're in a tenement in Glasgow. Calm down.
Come on.
But apparently, this is the other thing. This is my flatmate's friends with the girls across the hall, and they've kind of been getting together and talking about it. They've Facebook stalked him enough that they realized he's like a Labour MP.
What a fucking twist. Wow.
Don't know who he
my
is. I don't know his name, but they found
Ashley?
out that he
Ashley?
is that.
Ashley.
He's got to be a
Ashley,
local.
This podcast needs a hook. What the fuck are you doing? Get us this name. What is one of the tenets of this program? A always be doxing. A always be doxing. Always be doxing.
Box this
Sure.
dude. That's crazy.
Yeah.
He's got to be your local MP. He
must
lives in
be.
your neighborhood.
Unless he's living purposely in a neighborhood that he's not an MP in.
I don't think you're allowed to do that.
I don't think you.
Your area.
Yeah, you
Is
have
it
to
not
live
that-
in.
Can't you just base your offices there?
I don't think you're
No,
supposed to.
like a lot of people have a second apartment. They have an apartment that's
Maybe
in their
this is his second
constituency.
apartment. This is where he goes when he wants his wild sex.
Possibly.
I'm just looking up
they'll,
Scottish
like, say,
Labour
like,
MPs, and there's going to be
But look-
pictures, and you're going to point at the one who's fucking above your house.
I'm gonna
Look-
I'm gonna look this up as well.
Look up Glasgow.
Or it might not have been that he was an MP. It might have been that he was like a councilman. I don't know.
No,
I
MP
think he
is
was
fun.
an MP though. I think he was an MP.
Wait a minute. Oh, Labour or SNP? Do you live below Nicola No, I'm trying. No. Also, that was the weirdest thing to be in Scotland when Nicola Sturgeon left, and it was the weirdest thing because it was basically like, you guys are a bunch of dicks, I'm out of here. And then, like, I don't think there's been a scandal, but it has since been revealed that the SNP, like, why is that crazy lady the only front runner? Like, is their bench that
I haven't been
lacking?
keeping up with it, so I don't even know who she is.
Oh, Ashley, you gotta follow British politics. It's so
I don't
scary.
gotta follow them.
You do. It's
Anything that I
it's
really
either-
need to know, you will tell me, or my dad will tell me.
Here's
So
what you need to know: get off of that island.
yeah,
My screen share isn't working. There's only one. I'm on my little laptop. It's like sort of half pad, half laptop because my normal laptop is being weird. So I can't share. But Ashley, if you can look up Ian Murray, who is
it's not him.
he's the only Labour MP in Scotland.
It's not him.
He's Edinburgh South. He
I
is
must
the right age,
be
though. He's
wrong,
the right
but
age. He's 76.
yeah, I see what you mean, but
But that's not him.
no, it's not him because we got his post by accident once, so I did see his name. I can't remember what it was, but I know
Why
it.
are you looking up his name, you fucking weirdo? You've got all these clues.
Yeah, do you remember what
So
his name is?
we got his post before I had heard any of the sex.
Lucky.
Oh.
Do you think when you see
What's
him,
going on now?
does a part of you want to be like pretty loud today? Like, you want to just say it, or is it an anonymous sort of letter
No.
you're doing it?
Do you want to like
I-
fist bump him and be like,
crush
I
that.
don't know. It's my flatmate and the girls across the hall that are mostly kind of drafting up this letter and stuff, so I don't actually know what the tone of it is. I was gonna just go upstairs, knock on the door, and say, "Can you keep it the fuck down?"
Yeah.
Like,
That seems like more of a you approach, quite
Yeah.
frankly.
Well, because
The
for a second
draft-
there I was like, wait, there's a
well, I'm
letter
kind
going
of
out complaining and Ashley didn't write it? What?
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm on board with the letter, but my approach would normally be go up and ask again,
Mm-hmm.
and then you draft a letter. Strike
I think
three
back
is a
up,
letter.
back
Much
up,
more
back
adult.
up.
That's much more adult.
Hang on, back up. You do 2 pop-ups?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would probably do one where I'm like, hey, can you just keep it down? Another where I'd say, if I have to ask you again, I'm calling the council or the police.
Mm.
And then the third one, I just do either of those things or send the letter or whatever.
Yeah.
I
See,
then
go-
take the formal step. The first one is a polite ask. The second one is a warning. The third one is a formal step.
I love that. I think that's the right way to do it. Yeah. That's how adults deal with things. You don't hide behind a letter. You speak to a person. And you
Yeah.
say,
I mean,
fucking get
However, I will say a friend of mine's, her
oh,
brother-in-law had somebody come up and complain about noise, and he answered the door and he was like, "Oh, I'm really sorry. I am a musician, so I can stick to certain hours if that works better for you." And that was kind of, he was being super nice about it and everything. He was kind of like, "Yeah, I probably was being a little bit loud." But then this person like pulled a knife on him.
I
Yeah.
got I had my upstairs neighbors in Montreal. I made noise one time, and then any noise, they were fucking crazy. Any noise that was made like on the street, they would bang on my door and accuse me of making noise, to the point that they were fucking crazy. The husband woke me up at 6 a.m. and accused me of attacking his wife. And I didn't. And he screamed at me, and the landlord heard. And the landlord came up and was like, "Has that been happening a lot?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Go inside." And bear in mind, the Montreal tenant laws are insane. You can't get people out. I like heard like a bang on the door, and I heard, and then the landlord came down and was like, "They'll be out this afternoon." And I don't know what he said to them.
Wow.
If I know anything about the Greek people, I know that I think he probably showed them a knife and was like, "You or me." You know what I mean? Like there was like a threat.
But also, like if he asks, like, has that been happening a lot? Then I feel like he has like a dossier on them, like a steel dossier, where he was
But here's
like gathering things, and he went, "Listen, you stop it, or I swear to God, all this shit. I saw what you did with that dog and the peanut
or
butter,
something.
and I will tell
Oh
everyone."
yeah, he
And,
fucks the dog. He's a dog fucker.
Yeah.
I want everyone here to know something. My phone is at 10%, so it may not make it to the end of the episode, but I love you all, and I
That's
think
okay.
you're great.
We've only got like just over 15 minutes left, so
Yeah.
That's right. Very
we
exciting.
can get through that.
Other exciting news. I've had 2 clips on Instagram go viral, and I've had a real fun time popping into the comments and sounding off on people, and it's very fun because I read that like getting comments going is a real way to like drive traffic. So I've been a bit
Oh, that's
antagonistic.
interesting.
And then I know who's an antagonistic asshole can really get people chatting. Hello.
Nice. I've seen a few of your clips coming up. They're good fun.
I had to stop myself because one of them was a guy wrote "not funny," and I went, "I'm gonna fucking kill your family." I was like, "That's too far."
Lose that account.
Yeah, you
that's
can't
too
do
far.
that. You can't do that.
I know. But I was like that because I was trying to just do something like way too extreme as a response to that. Like in my head, I was like, "That's very funny." I was like, "Wait, no."
No.
But there's actually, if you want to, John, you and I were talking about how like we want to listen to comedians just talk about comedy on podcasts. We don't want to make that podcast, but we want to listen to it. Have you listened to the Jackie and Laurie show? Jackie Cation and Laurie Kilmartin?
I have not, but I would listen to it. I guarantee that's real fun stuff.
It's great. And they talk like hard. They're both on the road. Like most of their albums are recorded, or most of their episodes are recorded in different hotel rooms around the country as they're headlining at clubs. And they both talk about like how to get TikTok engagement, what happens when a club fucks you for money, what kind of merch you should bring and how much you should charge, how to get the staff. It's like real inside baseball shit, but then also just very fun. They complain about men in comedy. Ashley, you'll love that part.
Oh yeah,
I do enjoy some complaining about men in
I also will
comedy.
say this:
It's fucking great. It's
Laurie
really,
Kilmartin might be the best comedian in LA. She like it is
really.
a like
She's
pound for pound. It's like ooh, that's a real like she is the only comedian like plays every room. And like, no matter what, people are like, yeah, let's go pop. It's oh god, she's a fucking good comedian. Holy shit!
And like Jackie Cation fucking kills me. She's
What's
so
this
funny.
podcast called?
It's called the Jackie and Laurie Show. LAURIE.
The Daily Storm. Don't go on that website. No.
Yeah, no, it's fucking great. It's really, it's one of my favorite podcasts now. Like I listen to it every week when it comes out. It's like, you know, like you check your podcast on the day and you see what's in. That'll be the first one I put on in the queue. That's
Sure.
like that's my go-to.
I have it memorized. I know my stories for my days. You don't know the release days? You got to know the release days. You need your stories.
I mean, I mostly listen to sports and news podcasts, and then it'll be like a few comedians, and then it depends on who they're interviewing. But the Jackie and Laurie show is a guarantee.
Oh no,
I mostly listen to true crime.
I got a lot of true crime.
Yeah.
I'm going through back into a bit of a behind the bastards phase. That show I go in and out of.
Sure.
A variety of other nonsense. Variety monitoring the right wing podcast. A podcast called Knowledge Fight, where two guys just listen to every episode of Alex Jones. Yeah. And I got to tell you, that one I really enjoyed. That one really got me through COVID. I don't know why, but man, oh man, that really did make January 6th not a surprise. I was listening to that show intensely, and they were doing like every day at that point. And they were like tracing like the freedom rallies and all the stuff that Alex was organizing. And I remember they were talking about like, if something happens violent in the future, they're like, Alex is going to get in trouble for that, right? And they're like, oh yeah, like he was so insightful. And like now they talk about Sandy Hook and they're like, we knew that he'd get him on something. Oh, it's great stuff. Actually, I will tell you what I've been mostly getting into is I really like online YouTube comedian beefs, especially if it can be between a subreddit and a comedian. Oh, that's good shit. And there's a shithead comedian in LA right now named Brendan Schaub, who's a former UFC fighter who's released 2 specials. Anyway, his former assistant has now been fired by him and is now doing interviews with various Redditors from the subreddit that hates him, just being like, oh yeah, he did do that. Yeah, he did try and get that demonetized. Yeah, he called YouTube for like, and it's guys, he's a good. It's so good. It's so good.
That's very fun. Isn't it Brendan Schaub, the one that the Chris D'Elia clip that we kept watching? Wasn't that his show?
That is correct. The person who would be operating the camera of that is now a man named Hello Mark Hartley, who was Brendan Schaub's assistant, and the person we're speaking about now. I feel like I have the most weird YouTube of the three of us. I feel like Ashley's yours is probably like true crime.
I never watch YouTube. I'm never on there.
I don't watch YouTube a huge amount. If I do watch it, what do I even watch on YouTube? There's nothing much. I used to be really into the slow-mo guys.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, I like the slow-mo guys. Who doesn't No.
They were so cool. It was so
like
good.
They just do slow-mo shit, but it's
they
like
just do
great.
They just do like, let's smack Dan in the face with a football and see what it looks like in slow motion.
Like it's like Chris.
It's
it's one of those things where you're like, how did no one think of this? And also, thank God these guys thought of it. There's one.
Yeah, but also they're like they're using really, really high-end cameras to capture it. And then Gavin Free is the main guy, and he's one of the few people in the world who can operate one of these phantom cameras that captures really high detail definition slow motion stuff. And he's done it for a few movies now as well, because he's one of the people who can operate these cameras.
Nice.
There's one where they do a water balloon that is insane. Like
the water balloons are so cool. They do so much with like water balloons or paint balloons or something, and it just looks so cool.
I must have seen sometimes these pop up in my Instagram, but it's I never look at the account. I just watch a slow motion balloon.
Slow-mo guys are so much fun. Yeah, there's one where they bounce a huge big water balloon on a trampoline until it pops or something.
Wasn't there also where one of the slow-mo guys turns out like was having an affair and brought down the empire, or is that a different YouTube subset?
I
This
have
recently
no
happened.
idea.
That's
Yeah,
been
I
I
like
don't
don't
know why.
know.
three
I don't think
different
so because I think
YouTube
the two of them
celebrities.
still do it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think this. Yeah, I mean the slow-mo guy. No, the slow-mo guys are not being brought down by a sex scandal because you know
Nah,
what?
they're
Like,
too cool. They're way too cool.
Longest
it's
sex
also
tape. Jesus.
yeah, exactly. Just fucking wrap it. Although the definition on that cum, imagine seeing
Um,
cum in slow motion. That would
that
be
would be gross.
just high definition,
I
like
guarantee you they've done that
inside.
though.
Yeah, got it. Two
Oh
They
cameras.
haven't put
One
it on
yeah.
YouTube, but they've done it
one
just for
camera
the
real
sake of
close up,
posterity.
just on the head, just so you can just watch that, but like simulcast the guy's face also in slow motion while it's happening, so you get the,
Oh, I'd
the
love
whole
it.
picture.
That
Yeah,
used to be what I was
fucking
really into on YouTube. Now I kind of watch film interviews a lot.
Okay. Oh, you watch
I
like the
love
actor
those.
roundtables and stuff, and the
yeah. Love it.
those are
No.
great.
Those
Actor
are
and
great.
director roundtables. It's like the Hollywood Reporter, which like I don't read any
Oh,
of their stuff, but they get
oh, is
great.
that the
Like,
ones? It's like no, I don't think I've watched the roundtable ones. I've watched the varieties actors on actors ones,
oh yeah, those are
and
great too.
then oh, what's the other one I was just gonna say? It's left my brain entirely. And then the other thing that I kind of enjoy is those Hot Wings challenge interviews.
Of course,
Quite
hot
fun.
ones.
Hot
I
ones,
will
yeah.
say,
Hot
I
ones,
find
yeah.
I
The Paul
I
Rudd
don't.
one is really fun. I've watched that
I,
repeatedly.
I don't love that Hot Ones got successful. Here's my problem with it: is I liked it when it was just like he's a little too impressed with himself now. Like you know what I
He
mean?
is a
Like
little bit. I do understand what you mean. Yes.
But
Have you ever seen the SNL sketch where somebody takes
my
like
my Rudolph's Beyonce on Hot Ones, that one?
Beyonce? Yeah.
Yeah, that was incredible. I'm just trying to figure out if I'm too big to do this.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really, really
I
good.
I once say, speaking of dearly departed Paul Byrne, he and I got into Hot Ones like OG. Like I think I watched like the Joey Diaz, like
Oh yeah.
first 10 or 20. Like I was into it old school. And that guy weirdly was obsessed with chicken wings, and he started fucking collecting those hot sauces. So I've
Oh
had a
wow.
bunch of them,
Oh,
and
okay.
I gotta tell you this about. I think I had one of the crazy hot ones, not like hot, but not like unbearable crazy. Like it has a flavor to it. You know what I mean? That's what I
Mm-hmm.
was shocked by. Also, some of those celebrities I think are faking how hot it is. Like it's like they're bad, but like don't go nuts.
The people, it's a show. You know what I think is like a good. You know why I think it works is because the gimmick is like strong. The people are like you're seeing people who are normally under complete control at all times because they've been media
Mm-hmm.
trained,
Yeah.
be a little vulnerable in themselves. But the most important part is the host is just a fucking glass of milk of a person.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
he's
just a
really
dial
got
tone. You're
no
100% right.
personality.
Yeah.
If he had a big personality, it's a hat on a hat. It's too many things. But because he's just this fucking I don't like vice like assistant manager type person,
I
then
completely agree with you.
it's just enough like that's the low tone to balance out the high tone of the hot
Yeah.
wings, and you go, this is a nice sine wave.
But that's the problem with that guy now is that he's too kind of fucking smarmy impressed with himself. Like, can't you believe that I've got Joe Jam the monkey boy?
I really like Ali Plum, that celebrity interviewer guy. He's really fun.
Ali Plum?
He's
Who's
taking his
Ali
fame
Plum?
well.
I don't know who that
Oh,
is.
you've definitely seen some of his interviews with celebrities.
Let's see.
I don't know. The only celebrity interviewer that I'm aware of is that blonde lady who has a thing with what's his fucking name? It's not Colin Farrell. It's one of the other ones. But yeah, she's like this blonde British one. Oh, it's Andrew Garfield. They like have this like weird flirty thing. It shows up on my Instagram feed
I've
sometimes.
seen that. Yeah, I know the one that you mean.
Yeah, so like that's the only one. I don't know her name. I haven't seen anything else. People are just like, what is going on between this lady and Andrew Garfield? And that's all.
There's like a few interviews of them together, and in all of them, there seems to be a vibe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I had no idea about this. Here's my question. Andrew Garfield, which one is he?
He's the middle
Spider-Man
Spider-Man,
2.
the Amazing
Thank you.
Spider-Man.
Thank you. I get him and Eddie Redmayne confused all the time
Yeah.
because there was
Sure.
just like a moment. Do you know what I'm saying? Thank you for backing me up on this. A few people have been like, "You're crazy," and I'm like,
No,
I feel like,
I can
thank you.
understand those two people getting mixed up.
He was
Oh,
also
I got it.
AIDS guy. He played AIDS guy in Tick Tick Boom.
Oh yeah, that was a
Oh.
good movie.
He's a good
I
actor.
started watching that
very
on the
good
plane and
actor.
immediately fell asleep from stress.
Mm, AIDS will
Yeah.
do that.
Certainly. I also didn't like that. Isn't it not about Rent? Isn't it sold as like the story of the guy who wrote
It's
Rent?
about the guy who wrote Rent.
Mhm.
but not writing Rent?
It's
think
about the lead up to him writing Rent. It's his
Yeah,
life
Go
kind
fuck
of
yourself.
in the lead
Shut
up.
the fuck. No,
It's
go
the
fuck
sad
yourself.
times.
I'm not.
That's where the
I'm
story is, where things are
No,
hard.
I'm not. I'm
No,
not
'cause
here to
basic-
see how they built the Death Star. Use the Death Star. You know what I'm saying?
You didn't like Rogue One?
It does
You're the only
work as
person
a
that didn't like Rogue One?
story.
Pardon me?
John, you're the only person that didn't like Rogue One, a Star Wars story?
I did
Good
like Rogue
fucking
One, and
movie.
that's
What it
not
was
also
about. It
how.
was about the
First of
building
all,
of the Death Star.
no,
That's
hang on.
literally what the movie was about.
It was
Yeah.
literally about the destruction of the Death Star. I win. Go ahead, Ashley. About the destruction of Ashley.
Yeah, that's what
just
A New
Tick
Hope
Tick
is.
Boom is it's a good story. It works and it's a true story. So you can't really kind of go, well, that doesn't work as a narrative because I mean it's just a thing that happened.
Lots of
true.
people's true stories don't work as narratives, though.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's
Yeah.
because
So
they're
much-
true events. You haven't sculpted them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it does be
but that's
boring
then
as
don't make a
fuck.
movie. Then don't.
Yeah. Like if they
It does work
imagine.
though. It's a
Okay, I
it's a
haven't seen
sad
it.
ending.
I haven't seen it.
Oh,
you haven't
God,
seen
you
it?
haven't.
AIDS guy's got a sad ending. they didn't.
I think
They didn't cure it.
No,
It's not
wait,
about
what?
Magic Johnson.
it's more sad than that though.
Wait, like he gets AIDS and then gives it to everyone? Like what? How does it sadder than that?
It's more just how his career progressed.
Hmm.
So like he didn't know
Oh,
that
no.
Rent became successful.
Did he
Oh,
die
he died
before Rent?
before. He Van Gogh'd it.
Piss.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like he never knew, and it's one of the longest running Broadway musicals or something. Like it's achieved a lot, and he just never knew
Yeah.
any of that
It's seminal.
happened.
Yeah. Get it? AIDS, seminal, guys. Anyone?
Ashley, get him out of here.
I was already doing it.
Thank you. Oh, this is much better. I have to say this about Rent. Real good. It's real good. I am a
I've actually
musical
never
man.
seen Rent. I've seen Tick Tick Boom, but I haven't seen Rent.
Oh my God. You haven't seen Rent? I mean, you could just listen. I don't know if you're someone who listens to musicals, but because it's the whole point of it, the entire thing is sung. So you can can listen to it and get it because
Yeah.
it's also pretty minimal on stage because it's just people singing. Oh, here he comes.
I mean, I remember the only thing I've seen of Rent is Team America.
Pretty good depiction.
Yeah. Okay. Ashley, they have a song called "Everyone Has AIDS," and then they just start naming people with AIDS. And
I shouldn't find that funny, but I do.
I mean,
so funny.
I gotta tell
The
you,
chorus is "Everyone has AIDS." Your sister and your girlfriend too. The Pope has got it, and so do you.
You, yeah.
Team America, is that the little weird puppet thing?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's right.
Because it's the same thing as like Thunderbirds and the A-Team and all
Well,
that.
that's what they're
Yeah,
making
that's
fun
what
of.
they're
Yeah,
doing,
yeah. It's the South Park guys that be given too much money. It's the best.
It's funny though. It's got a bunch of great jokes. When he pukes
Speaking-
for 5 minutes, that shit's hilarious.
The sex scene. Do you know how long the sex scene was? So they have the MPAA in America, which gives films ratings, like rated R, all that sort of stuff. And they had a bunch of stuff that they knew they were going to make them take out, and there was a bunch of like libel stuff with the celebrities. So they made the sex scene like 45 minutes, like something so insane. So that like they were like, it's XXX unless you get rid of the sex scene, and they were like, just the sex scene. Woo!
And what they left in of it is still crazy. I think she shits on his chest.
Yeah, she shits on his chest.
Good Lord.
It's a wild movie, but it's very fun. That's where the Matt Damon thing came from, actually. Matt Damon.
Matt Damon.
And apparently they only did that because the puppet's mouth didn't work properly, so they couldn't give him normal lines, so they just changed it to Matt Damon.
Also, a bunch of the celebrities found out what they were doing and were like, "Can we be in this?" And they were like, "No." And they were like, "No, like we're
absolutely
funny
not.
with the joke." And they were like, "No, you
No.
cannot."
No, they never
Yeah.
let celebrities do it, which I love. Like I remember George Clooney was one of
He
the
plays
first
a-
celebrities allowed on South Park, and he's a dog. They just
Yeah,
let
he
him
plays a
bark.
dog.
He just barks.
That's great. That's so funny.
If you are looking for a fun thing, is 6 Days to Air, which is just
Incredible.
shows them
Incredible.
making an episode of South Park, which they do in 6 days.
That's wild.
They make
That
it
is
right before the 60.
absolutely wild.
Every week they would make it between the airing of the show and the airing of the next episode. They would start to story, like they would crack a story just there. And I love it because
I like it.
Trey and Matt are like in the room being like brilliant and writing their thing. And every now and then it just cuts to Bill Hader laughing. He's just in the writer's room, never contributes anything, just laughing. Such a funny addition.
Wow.
So Bill Hader and like their writers, it's sort of a known thing. So they write everything. Well, Trey writes everything, and then Matt sort of stands there as apparently what happens. But they will bring in writers, and like you will just sit there and they'll pitch, like it's the inverse. You don't pitch to them. They'll just be like, "What about this to this to this?" But mostly they'll like open the door and be like, "Hey, can you get us like 8 crazy weird things Cartman can yell at Stan here?" Yeah. And then they just like leave for a day and a half and then come back and be like, "Did you do that?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, yeah, we don't need that anymore. And then, like they're just sort of there if they're like, "Hey, do you guys like pizza?" Like it's so fucking fascinating.
Like Bill Hader he wanted to know how, I think he was either just about to finish SNL or just left, and he's like, "I want to know how to write like episodes of TV, and I'd like to be in a writer's room." And the South Park guys were like, "Just come hang out in ours." Like, so he was just kind of there just to learn how they do it, and it is incredible to watch them do it. And there is like, one of them does all the voices and does all the writing, and the other one is just like his muse, I guess. I'm not sure what the other guy does.
So a couple of people, because I really got fascinated by them. There's more in-depth interviews. So Matt writes all the, he composes all the music, is the thing you don't see him doing. And the other thing is he's the bulldog. Like he's Trey's the artist. He's like, what if and then Matt, like an executive, was trying to get Trey to sign away Cartman, and Matt's like, "Get the fuck away from him. I'll fucking kill you." Like that's it. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Right, you guys, we've hit our time. Part 2 of episode, whatever it is.
Part 2 of this week.
Part 2 of this week.
I can't believe my phone lasted this long. 3%.
Your phone survived the whole episode, John.
And it was on 35% when we started. Like it's pretty miraculous. Yeah.
That's kind of impressive.
They've really done something with these iPhone batteries. I gotta tell you, you know what I mean? Like you'd think, but yummy dummy.
What is it on now?
3%.
Yeah.
Wow. We're still here though. We're still here.
Thank you, podcast listeners. Fuck you.
I do not thank you. You are not thanked. Quite the opposite.
I'm gonna go and upload these and schedule them to go out so that I don't have to do it. And
I was gonna recommend that. I was gonna do it off.
Go out.
I was gonna do it off camera, but good. Yeah, gross.
You were gonna talk about admin off camera.
I just thought, new day, new stream.
That's not how this show works, Chris.
That's my fault.
I'm gonna go and sleep now, but before I do, and this is how we're ending the show. When you guys started talking until right now, all of that time I was farting, and you know what? It was great. Yeah, the whole time, silent.
Oh yeah, that's a good ending. Right, here's the old lady talking about sex. Bye.
I love you. Bye.
Penis into her vagina. That's all.